Ladies and gentlemen, on December 16th, 1944, during World War II, a German counteroffensive has started. This counteroffensive, however, only lasted a single month. However, it accumulated over 90,000 casualties. 11% of these casualties took place at Bastogne, while 2% of the 11% were US and the other 9% were German. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is John Gorman, and I am going to guide you through how the Battle of Bastogne began, what happened during, and how the battle concluded. Adolf Hitler originally had a plan to retake the port of Antwerp to head west from his current front, but to do this, he noted that the vital importance of the crossroads that led west out of Bastogne to get to the port of Antwerp more effectively and faster. However, the 8th Corps of the U.S. were already in Bastogne, and they were set up there. The 8th Corps' front line was generally pretty quiet, so quiet that General Eisenhower decided to deplete the strength of the troops to assist in an attack up in the north. Paraphrased from Colonel Ralph Mitchell, he says that the 47th Panzer Corps was to cross the Owl River, bypass the Cliff sector, and take Bastogne. Use its crossroads to head west and cross the Meuse River south of Namur. In hindsight, the Germans miscalculated the amount of troop resistance that they would that the U.S. would put up, and the amount of reserve troops that they had. They also miscalculated the terrible weather that would be occurring that both German and U.S. forces had to endure. Colonel Ralph Mitchell continues to say, paraphrased of course, on December 16th, the German counteroffensive started at 5 a.m. With a heavy artillery barrage. The dazed and confused 8th Corps were able to hold them at a slow advance while until the withdrawal to Bastogne was called. Upon receiving word that the German counteroffensive started, the High Allied Command decided to send the 101st over to Bastogne to defend it. However, the 101st word never reached the 101st because they had already left to a town about 25 miles north of Bastogne. At the end of the first day, the Germans were within 11 miles. Their morale was pretty high as they broke through the first line of defense that the Allies put up. They were within 11 miles of Bastogne at the end of the first day. By chance, on the 17th, an advanced detachment of the 101st decided to take a detour through Bastogne, and it was only then that they learned they would be attached to the 8th Corps and help defend Bastogne at all costs. On December 18th, 1944, continuing from Colonel Ralph Mitchell, on December 18th, 60 tanks and a division of infantry arrived along with the 101st on December 18th. The December 18th ended with the Germans being held to 3 miles of Bastogne. Paraphrased from Philip M. Cole's book, the German commanders confidently assumed that they would have taken Bastogne in the following 2 days, so they decided to split their army and send it west to continue the attack in the north, or continue the attack in the west. That was pushing west. German squads infiltrated under cover of terrible weather on the 19th and were held to the Neuville-Bizery-Neuf line. Continuing from Philip M. Cole's book, the 20th and 21st came with the same infantry attacks that eventually led to the full encirclement of Bastogne. In bad rapport, the 101st Medical Center was nearly filled. However, they were not defeated. The 101st still held radio communications with the 8th Corps that withdrew to a town south of Bastogne. And they also knew that a support column would be eventually coming to save them from the south. On the 22nd, however, of December, About noon, 4 Germans under a white flag entered the lines of the 2D Battalion, 327th. The terms of the announcement they carried were simple: the honorable surrender of the encircled town, this to be accomplished in 2 hours on threat of annihilation by the massed fires of the German artillery. The rest of the story has become legend, how General McAuliffe disdainfully answered nuts, and how Colonel Harper, commander of the 327th, hard-pressed to translate the idiom compromised on go to hell. This quote taken from Philip M. Cole's book titled The Ardennes Battle of the Bulge, Chapter 19, shows how confident the 101st Commander was in his troops. Considering the denial of the surrender proposal on the 22nd, there were the same infantry attacks that ended up tightening the circle up around Bastogne. Paraphrased from Lieutenant Colonel Chester H. Phillips, the fog and snow continued until the day of the 23rd, where the skies cleared and the longed-for possible airdrop became available. During that day, 1,446 bundles of airdrops were dropped by low-flying C-47s that surely saved the defenders of Bastogne. This resulted in an extreme morale boost, and the following 2 days of attacks on the 24th, however, did not do well for the Germans. On the 25th, however, the Germans threw everything they had at the 101st, still boosted off of the airdrops. However, the 101st held them to not taking Bastogne. On the 26th, Lieutenant Colonel Creighton Adams decided to take a detour and go through Assenoy, south of Bastogne. It was there that he would push through the south ring of the German force that was surrounding Bastogne, opening up a hole that allowed supplies to rush in and save the defenders of Bastogne. Mitchell states that the 101st had held Bastogne and seriously incapacitated the German Ardennes offensive. In action from 18th December through the 26th, the 101st had suffered 1,933 casualties, while they caused 7,000 German casualties, and 700 German captured and destroyed about 200 armored vehicles. All hope for German success died that day because they had no remaining troops to patch up the hole that Lieutenant Colonel Creighton Adams made from the south of Bastogne. In researching the Battle of Bastogne, I found a nice enjoyment in having a map open and being able to follow along with the American and German moves that they made throughout the Battle of Bastogne, or the Battle of the Bulge. I hope you enjoyed my speech. Thank you.